Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Michaud, and this is Alex Kalognomos.
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 You can say it now. You can say it. Kalognomos.
Kalognomos. I can never get his name right. We're here to talk about a movie. And what is that movie, Alex?
That film is Black Panther.
Black Panther. What can you say about Black Panther that hasn't been said in the newspapers?
I think that this is a film that we will be talking about in 50 years. The significance of a film like this for people who love movies, people who love cinema, people who love comics, people who love the superhero genre, and especially for African American filmgoers who do not see themselves represented enough in films.
Good. All right. I like the film itself because it had a lot of very interesting dialogue, and it introduced a different kind of a nobility to a people who had been hidden away for so long. It was kind of like listening to Shakespeare in a different way.
It really was.
Didn't it?
Yeah, I loved listening to all of the dialects, and I think that that's going to be a very popular dialect that actors across the nation and acting class are going to take on. I remember when Fargo came out, everyone was doing the Minnesotan accent. This is going to be the next new dialect that everyone's going to do.
I don't know about that.
I think so. I would try it, but
I liked the story because it was interesting. There were so many flip-flops. You had the hero who was becoming a chief, who really didn't want to become a chief, didn't know if he was ready. And then when he became a chief, he realized that he took on more than he could handle. He fell from grace in the middle of the movie, right? He got the crap kicked out of him, and then he came back again. And he fought a villain who was trying to steal the very thing that made Wakanda so unique so he could give it to some other people who were being suppressed, but at the same time, that would have destroyed Wakanda. So there was all this back and forth. You didn't know who was right and who was wrong.
Well, for me, I did know who was right and wrong because these characters are such archetypal characters in any kind of narrative that you study, in any kind of hero's tale. There is always that moment when the hero is challenged. He ends up getting everything that he has signed up for ends up coming down on him 10 times harder than what he thought, and he's challenged. And part of the fun in this film is watching him rise and surpass that challenge when he's faced with the exploitation of his people. He's faced with an enemy, enemy that is his cousin.
We can agree though that it was an interesting premise.
Yeah, one of the most interesting premises.
Premise,
I mean,
right?
where has this film been for the last 30 or 40 years? It's like we've been waiting for a film like this for such a long time to see these types of characters.
However, I must say
screen.
there were a couple of outpoints in the movie that I have to talk about. I felt as though the lead character, Boseman, as the Black Panther, when he did become the Black Panther, the fight scenes were kind of weak. It's almost as though you saw a bit of Wolverine and a bit of Spider-Man, but no real Black Panther.
Well,
there's got to be something unique about Black Panther.
Well, scene to scene, his abilities, his fighting abilities got stronger and stronger. I mean, I think
But what was he doing that was interesting in the movie? I mean, as a fight that we haven't seen before. Okay, he rips open the top of a car, he jumps onto a car, he jumps off of a car, but it was kind of weak.
I think that you might be misinterpreting what was someone who was protecting his talent. He was not, by nature, a violent person. He never chose to actually go and
nothing to do with violence. If he's indulging in violence, it better be interesting violence.
Okay.
It wasn't interesting enough.
I thought the fight scenes, the way they were staged in the water were brilliant.
Okay.
They were staged. It was like watching, a multi-tiered boxing match.
Got it.
All of those characters there were part of the choreography and the colors and the vibrancy, and it was ceremonial fighting. So I don't know what kind of fighting you were expecting. This was not going to be.
Look, when you come to Earth, and you're after something, and you're facing bad guys like that psycho they had. Who was that? Circus guy? What was
Andy
his name?
Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
Yeah,
Was he
Claw.
brilliant?
He was
brilliant.
He was a really good
He's pretty psycho.
nemesis.
Yeah, he got killed off way too early, I thought. But when you're fighting those kinds of guys, something's got to change in you. And I think that's what might have been a good turning point for him, to come back to Wakanda and said, I can't do this over there. I'm becoming like them. That would have bolstered the story.
We've seen that so much. We've seen that so much.
What?
I think that as a plot point, it would have taken this film in a completely different direction. When he comes back to Wakanda, he's there now. He's the king. He has won that position. He has earned that right through ceremony and through tradition. He is now their king until.
But haven't we
Michaud,
seen that before? The guy is king and he falls from grace.
Well, he did.
And then he's resurrected. And there's a false
But
leader.
that's a story that you never get tired of that story.
Well, you just told me.
You never get tired of that story.
Formula.
You never get tired of that
That was my other
story.
point. My other point was this kind of formula. It's a formula picture. Listen, I love the movie, but I do feel as though it's time for ho-hum, a different formula, a different archetype.
Well, we have to see where Black Panther is going to evolve. This is going to be one of the most
you wanna
interesting
know?
things that will probably define the next decade. Will
All
be
right, I
how
can
this
agree.
character grows and how all of those characters. This was one of the best casts
I'll
I have
give you
ever
a-
seen in
I'll
the
give-
film. All of
Oh,
so many of
come
my favorite
on,
actors
actors.
brought together. Lupita
on.
Nyong'o and Angela Bassett. You never get enough of Angela Bassett in movies. I asked myself, why isn't
Okay.
she working more? And there she was in this
Well,
tailor-made
I think I had
role
quite
for
enough
her.
of Angela Bassett in this movie. Now, I want to say something else. How much more interesting could it have been if instead of drinking a liquid that takes away his power,
It doesn't take away his power.
it does.
Well,
that's how he could do the competition.
It changes. It drains
drains
okay,
away
yeah,
his
it drains away.
Okay,
it drains
thank you.
away the. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Did we see the same movie?
We did.
Okay,
we
all
did.
right.
I
Well,
thought
how
you were
about
talking about
this?
another part of the film.
How about in Wakanda, when you begin to indulge in baser emotions, your power diminishes. Now, there's a great metaphor. And as he becomes more fearful that he's going to lose his throne, he begins to lose his power. You see?
I see.
Because he shifts his viewpoint from the greater good to himself.
But how would that
And
work
this,
in
it
this
would work
story?
for the bad guy as well. That's why he could never be king. He could never be quite as strong. And the only reason he could take on this Lord is because he was afraid. And when he comes back, he's not afraid anymore. Because now he's back to where his head is in the right space. He's going to take care of his people. See, that would have been interesting more than an
interesting.
object, than a fluid. Anyway,
Well, that sounds like
Matt, do you want to say
written
anything
another
about this?
film.
Matt is the guy who's filming us, by the way. Matt, do you want to say anything about this?
I didn't see it.
He didn't see it. That is an outright lie. Matt just doesn't like to be in front of the camera. All right, how much time we got, Matt?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
How about wrapping it up?
Okay.
So give me your summation. I'll give you my summation.
So my summation of this film is that if you ever get the chance to experience a cinematic masterpiece like this, a film that comes to the theaters and brings everyone together, young and old, to be able to come and enjoy a hero's tale like this, you cannot miss that opportunity because of the incredible technology that was employed to make this film. And by the way, we didn't really talk about that, but I thought from the CGI to the camera movements to the costuming to
Yes.
the incredible representation of the diversity of the African tribes, all of that was beautifully mounted and realized. And so you have to just embrace a film like this and know that it's a very special moment in time, and especially in Hollywood, with a film like Black Panther.
All right, I agree with Alex. It's a wonderful film. Please take your family, go out and see it. It's a great hero's tale, and it's unique. It offers a different viewpoint. The dialogue is great. The special effects are wonderful. However, mind you, it's just another superhero film. It's another formulaic Marvel superhero film. So
With
you're not
the-
going to see anything different than you've seen in any of the other X-Men
Well,
pictures
with the exception
or
that
Spider-Man.
this film takes on
Well, wait, I'm
issues
summing
today.
up. It's my turn to sum up.
But you haven't really addressed what this film does that's so
But you just
different.
pulled attention away. I'm trying to be here and you're over here.
Well, what do you think about that, though, Mike? What do you think about the fact that this film was dealing with issues that are people are dealing with today? In
I
a
think
world
when you
that's
go to see
corrupt
entertainment, you go to be entertained. And if
Okay.
you happen to get sidetracked and start thinking about issues and how that metaphor fits
This
in,
film challenges you to do
fine.
that.
Then
Okay.
please, you should. But if you don't feel guilty. Okay, it's just another superhero film. Go see it. You'll enjoy it.
Remember to like, subscribe, and comment below.
Mike and Al,
What the hell?
Okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was good. That was a perfect take. I mean, that.
It's only the only thing we did.